My name is Maribel. I'm a counselor here at Merced Adult School, and this week we're going to be talking about tips on how to prepare for an interview. Okay, but what's an interview first? So an interview is a conversation between the employer, and an interviewee, where you exchange information. That's technically what that is, right? But what's the purpose of an interview? So employers do have objectives, and their objective is to find out what your skills are, your abilities, any knowledge of that, what's going on there. They are wanting to know about your personality, your character, your interests, any experience if you've had, and your motivation for the role. And they want to see if you're fit for the position and the team. But keep in mind that it's a two-way street. You are also wanting to know if you're a good fit, or if that's a good fit for what you want. So, but why is our interviews important? It is an important part of the employee selection process. It can definitely help clarify a position's responsibilities. It really provides an opportunity for an employer to decide how well your skill aligns with the company's needs and wants. And you want to be as prepared and knowledgeable and do your best to get the job that you want. And if you get the job that you want, career you want, then you get paid good money. Like if you're wanting a certain job because it pays well and it's gonna help you be able to do more, why not, right? So these are some tips right here. So tip number 1, try on an outfit and make sure you have a nice one. Okay? You wanna dress fit and for the job. Dress to fit the job. You know, if you're going to go to a mechanic job and you're interviewing for it, you're not going to come in a suit. So look at how people are dressed there and dress the part. Does it fit? Make sure that the outfit fits and doesn't smell or have any stains. Because sometimes, you know, when you're interviewing, you're like, oh, I haven't interviewed for a while. Do I have clothes? And if you're looking at, you know, what to wear, you're always in places, maybe office positions or in businesses, you're looking like the business attire, like slacks, collared shirt, you're not showing too much skin, kind of stuff like that, covered your toes kind of shoes, because first impressions matter, and what you wear can be important. You know, sometimes unfortunately, you will be judged based on how you look, how you present yourself, and that includes what you wear. So make sure you have a nice outfit that fits, and if not, you better go get it. You better go get something and invest something. Okay, tip number 2, spend time researching the company or the place you're applying, right? You can do Twitter, you can Google the news, LinkedIn page, their Instagram. Businesses now have that all. I think that's Twitter. Yeah, right, Twitter, yeah. I don't have one. I should probably create one. Read their About Me section, their mission, vision. And jot it down on a notebook and highlight who they are as a company. I would also write down what is it that you like about what you see and what can you appreciate in the website. You know their history, their culture, what people tend to do there. And you can even look at the reviews of the company based on what the employees are saying. Like in Glassdoor, sometimes you can even see that. Not in every place, but you can actually research that. So it's good to know you've done your homework and checked out what the company is all about. Tip number 3, think of answers for the common questions and practice. So you're going to be asked, and you could be asked, and if not asked, you want to include it at the end, like if you have any questions or you want to add something, okay? The common questions are, tell me about yourself. Have a script for that, because most places will ask you that kind of question one way or another, and what some kind of question. Why you are interested in the position. Give it a good answer, not just because it pays well, right? You don't want to just, it could be, but lie. Okay, don't lie, but just really want to know that you know the position. Why do you want to work there? Why specifically do you want? That's why it's important that you do your research. Why should they hire you? What makes you stand out? I always tell people, look at what your qualities, what makes you different than another person. What are some adjectives that describe you? Like me, I would say I'm resourceful, I'm very compassionate, I'm a go-getter. Like, those are my things. But not only explain like the adjectives, but how are you, and give examples and places that you've worked at or volunteered if you have no work experience. If you were at school or did something at school, you want to focus on how you are a go-getter, how you are like very resourceful, and how you're very compassionate, and how all those qualities make you who you are, and someone would want to hire you, right? So those are the questions. If you want me to elaborate on how you can break down those questions, maybe I'll do another video on like how to style yourself. And during an interview, this is to prepare for an interview, and then I'll do something for during the video, the interview. Okay, so, and this is specifically mostly for jobs, of course. It could also apply for other interviews, like for programs, internships, schools and stuff, if you're wanting to do, but anything is still the same objective. Only that internships you don't get paid, and programs you don't get paid. It's just experience, right? Experience. Okay, go over the job description. Tip number 4. Make sure you go over the job description and see if you can match your skills and experience with what they have. Think of example stories to match what they're looking for. Like, find something. If they say, I'm looking for a person who can multitask. Okay, talk about a story. It's like, I had to answer phones, I had to, receive people, I had to, and at the same time I had a project going on, and I had to learn how to manage my time, and that made me as a multitasker. If they're looking for someone who's a go-getter or someone that just takes the initiative, talk about maybe at a point you were sitting there and you decided, and you were at a meeting and you decided to take it upon yourself to take a challenge yourself and to lead a project. So give examples, tell a story of how you fit some of what they're looking for. Make sure as you printing out the job description, you highlight and take notes, and make sure you bring them with you, right? Which just goes on to the next tip number 5. Have a notebook and take notes. Okay, so I think I had this in my picture, my thumbnail. Have something in here. We have like a notebook, and maybe you have, maybe not your business cards, maybe you do from your other job, whichever. And in here you have a printout of like the job, and I usually highlight stuff that I want to maybe talk about, and then take notes, like talk about this when you are mentioning this, because they are looking for this in the job. Because if you can match and sound like what they're looking for, guess what? It's gonna be music to their ears. So copies, you can have copies of your resume, and then you have a pen and paper if you want to take notes during the interview. You look more prepared and interested and engaged if you do that. Okay, so tip number 3, practice your interviews. Oh, I know. I think I've had a lot of practice. Check out your career center if you don't have one. I know where I'm at. We don't have one, so it's me. I'm the career center. But sometimes the career center holds like fairs, like career fairs, and or hiring events, which we've had them, and now right now they're on Zoom. Like, have that, and you can have the experience to get interviewed by people from jobs, like from businesses that are practicing, and they volunteered their time, and you have the opportunity to network. Like I said, check out with your career counselor or your counselor if you only have one counselor, right? They are everything, one-stop shop. You know, it's a good opportunity to network and have experiences, you know, with other employers as they're, you know, giving you mock interviews. Obviously, you can practice with your counselor and you guys can role play, but always have a chance to answer those questions. Even if you record yourself and listen to yourself, it's no big deal. You can totally do that. But practice. Remember those questions I told you? Practice those questions back and tell them yourself. A rule of thumb that I hear a lot from people is that don't take longer than a minute and a half to answer a question. If you're taking longer than a minute and a half, you might be saying a little too much. Some people can only grasp so much if they're taking notes and stuff. So don't talk more than a minute and a half per question, or a minute per question. Aim for a minute, okay? Come prepared with questions to the interview. Okay, as you're researching, think about questions that you can ask, you know. See if the job is right for you. Like I said, you're also interviewing them. So a good question to have always is like, what opportunities for advancement would I have here? It's good to know if you're going to be able to climb there, and it's good to know what you're getting yourself into, right? So always have a question in regards to that. Or I usually like to ask, like, what do you like best about your job? Why would anyone want to work here? What makes you different than other similar businesses or, you know, companies? So always have a question. Trick them, because you're ready to also interview them. Okay? Be engaging and friendly with everyone at the company. Be prepared to go in there at least, you know, 15 minutes early, which is another tip. Make sure you get there 15 minutes early. You never know what could happen. You know, don't be there at the exact time, because sometimes it can take you earlier. And if you're there, hey, you go for it. I know life happens, so you have to always be prepared. So always be there 15 minutes before. For another reason too, also, is because if there is a front desk person, someone you're checking in with, you can kind of get a feel for it. You know, ask that person how their day is going and be friendly, because sometimes the person who's making the decision, it's not the interviewers. They might ask people around to see if they talk to you and if they have any objections of you. You know, just sitting there in the waiting room. It's how you treat others, everyone. And that's really important. Okay? So another tip that I would suggest is that if not only getting there, if you could get there more like a half hour to an hour before, let me tell you why. And this is something that I've done and it's got me really close to getting into certain jobs, is go there and see if you can get a little tour, or just take a tour yourself of where you might be working at. You know, if it's a public place, you're able to. I know I did that because working in the schools, I asked to see if I can, you know, get a tour from the supervisor there, and they gave me a little tour, and I was like, oh, this would be nice to work at. I was really friendly, and to be honest, I almost got the job. I just didn't have the experience, so I lacked in the experience part. But I know I was a runner-up, and I know that I did something right. Aside from, of course, having an awesome interview. And I felt like I was engaged and with the people there who were interviewing me. I felt that taking the extra time to kind of get to know people and people like a supervisor, not the supervisor, but the campus supervisor, like campus person, campus security, you know, you know, as well as the front desk person, getting to know them and being friendly with them. I think that was the big thing, and it got me closer. So if you have a chance, get there even earlier than 15 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour, just to kind of get a feel for the place. And that's for you too, to see if it's a place where you see yourself at. So that's how I would prepare for an interview. Like I said, try on your outfit, make sure you spend time researching the company, think of answers of the common questions that I mentioned and have an answer, because most jobs are gonna want to know all that. Go over the job description for the position you're applying to. Make sure you have a notebook and take notes, where you include that stuff that I mentioned. Practice your interviews with someone else, ideally, or even other business owners, HR, or like I said, you're with yourself and videotaping yourself. And come prepared with questions. It's good to know, it's good to have questions. It lets them know you did your homework and you're engaged. Be friendly with every single person you encounter. Okay? Be on time, which means 15 minutes earlier. And then if you can come early to kind of get a tour of the place and get to be friendly with a lot more people, go for it. And one last thing, if you can give thank you notes, and this is more to prepare. Actually, this is more of an after. I'll do that in another video on that one, like what to do during an interview, and then I'll do something what to do after an interview. Okay, that's all I have for you guys this week. Don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't. And if you have any suggestions for future videos, let me know. Have a good day. Bye.